Welcome to the 6th video in this series making a 2D swarm shooter with C++. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to do something similar to what we did with game input. We're going to set up another singleton, this time to manage our game resources. When we refer to resources in our games, typically we resource to basically files with some data inside them that we use in some kind of way. More often than not, these are sounds and images that you'll use. And at the moment, inside the main.cpp, we're using 3 images as textures here and then 1 as an image. What we're doing is loading them at the top of the file and then unloading them again at the bottom of the file here. Now, as is, this works absolutely fine, but we're about to add more textures in for enemies, for bullets, for the pickups, for the particles, and also quite a few sounds into the game as well. Now, if we're not careful, we're going to end up scattering all of the load and unload code throughout different files inside our game, and that's a recipe for bugs and also memory leaks if you're not careful. So what we're going to do is we're going to have one class which handles all of the loading and unloading of our resources, and we're going to make that a singleton. The way we're going to manage the storage is using something known as an unordered map. You might know this as a dictionary in C# or in Python or JavaScript or something like that. And basically think of it just as a load of boxes, and you put stuff in the boxes and you open those boxes using a key, and what's in the box is a value. So for example, in our class that's going to handle our resources, it will have an unordered map and it'll have in there a key player texture, let's say. And when we use the key player texture, it'll give us back the value, which will be the player's texture. To be able to do this, what we first need to do is actually make something with those keys inside. So that's what we'll start with. So we'll make a new file. So go to source, right click, and a new file. We'll call that resourcekeys.hpp. And then we'll put the pragma once at the top of here. And then we'll make ourselves a little namespace here called rk. That can be then for our resource keys. So when we ever need a key, we do rk:::. And then we can add in our keys, which are going to be constant pointers to characters. We'll have the game background here. Then we'll have the game foreground as well. And then we can also have the player. And using the keys like this has the advantage we only have these defined here and hard-coded by us once. Throughout the rest of the app, we can do rk:::, and then whichever one we need. We can also add one in for the collision as well, actually. So I'll take this one here, and we'll call this game bg_collision, and add collision on the end here. So we have 4 keys now for our resources. And we're going to make use of these then in a new class, which is going to be a ResourceManager, and that's going to be a singleton, much like our game input. So we're going to have one instance of these throughout the life of the app, and that's going to load up all of our resources and then unload them for us as well. So let's right-click and new file and resourcemanager.hpp. I'm going to be really naughty here and open up the gameinput.hpp, copy everything inside there, and paste it inside the Resource Manager. Then what we can do is get rid of the movement state because we're not going to need that, and I'll change all of the names of the class inside here because it's basically boilerplate here. It's the same stuff. We don't need the movement state on here. We don't need the update on here either, and we can change this here, and we don't need this. And down the bottom here, we'll call this RM for Resource Manager, and we can drop this here as well. And I'll put an RM here. Okay, so that's set up our singleton for our Resource Manager. Then we'll put a public function on here to load all of the resources. And then we'll put another public function on here to unload all of the resources as well. Now let's give it the ability to store and load textures. Now before we get going with this, you've probably noticed in the videos so far in the series that I kind of like to do things by making a little bit and demonstrating it, and a little bit and demonstrating it. It's very difficult to do that, unfortunately, with this class. Basically, we have to get it up and running to be able to load the textures and then show them loaded on the screen. So we are going to have a little bit of boilerplate code that we need to write now. And at this point, honestly, I would recommend you just take the code from GitHub and drop it in along with me. The explanations are more important than simply typing things out. So starting at the top here then, above the include Raylib, what we can do is include string and unordered map. We're going to need this for our keys, and this is our unordered map. And then down inside the private section here, we can add in an unordered map, which is going to have a key string, and then the value will be texture2D. We'll do the images a little bit later on. Then we'll have a private function, which is going to take in the name of a texture and then the path of that texture, and it's going to then be responsible for loading that given texture then into the unordered map. And then we'll have a public function, which actually gets hold of a texture for a given key. So we'll put that below the unload here. Now let's turn our attention to implementing. So we'll get the Resource Manager and right click on source, and we'll go to new file, resourcemanager.cpp. Inside here then, what we'll do is we'll include the Resource Manager and also our resource keys, and also standard exception as well, because we're going to make some checks in here that we can actually access the data we're looking for. And we'll start off with the Resource Manager load. So this is going to be very similar code to what we've actually seen in the main.cpp. If I can scroll up to the top here, we're going to change the directory, and then we're going to load up the textures as we are here. And in fact, what we can do actually is get hold of this line. Going to copy that and then go into the resourcemanager.cpp and paste that line in there. And then for the texture loading, we'll actually put that in that separate load texture function that we've just written. So we can put the implementation in below here. Then we'll make a new texture2D, which is going to be the Raylib load texture, and we'll convert that into a C string because that's what load texture takes here. It's a constant car pointer. And now comes the critical part. We're going to check whether we actually get something. So if the ID is 0, it means we didn't find anything, and we're going to throw a runtime error so that we know something's gone wrong with our resource here. Otherwise, what we're going to do is insert a key, which will be the name, and then a value, which will be the texture itself, into our unordered map, which is this textures map here. To do that, we use inplace, and that's textures.inplace, and then our name and the texture. So long as we don't get a runtime error here, we will have loaded a texture and inserted it into our unordered map with the key name, and then the value will be actually that particular texture here. So what we can do now is load up the textures that we've been loading actually inside the main. So we can load a texture with our resource keys player, and that's the survivor idle shotgun. And then we can load the game background and the game foreground. So these are the textures just as we've been loading them inside here, except they're now being loaded by our resource manager. So we should have added now 3 keys and 3 values into our unordered map. Let's log this as well. So you'll see in a moment, if you've not seen it before, we can use something called trace log with different log levels to actually log to the output what's going on. And here it's probably a good idea to see how many textures we actually have inside our textures unordered map. Next up, let's do the unload. We can put this at the top. So in here, what we want to do is we want to iterate through all of the values that are inside our map. So we'll do for auto and then a name and text. So that's the key and the value in our textures map. And for each of these, what we want to do is invoke the unload texture, and we can unload our texture. Once we've done that, we can clear our map. And then here we can add a trace log as well. We haven't done too much of that in the application so far, but here with resources, I tend to find it's useful, especially when sort of setting things up and debugging to make sure the resources are actually there and then unloaded. And then the remaining one is the getTexture function from here. So this is going to be a public function, which we're going to use to get a texture that's been loaded into our map. So we can put the implementation of this then below the load texture here. So the load texture is used to internally load the texture into the map inside this class instance. The getTexture is public, and that's intended to access a texture in the map using the name here as the key. So this one is for loading it up internally. This one is for accessing something that's loaded into the map from outside. To do that, we need to be able to find it using our key, which is name here. And the way we do that is by saying textures.find and sending the name. The reason for the auto here is simply because the type that we need for this is really long and unruly to type. So we'll shorten that by asking the compiler just to interpret it. It'll know what it is. And we'll throw an error here if we don't find anything, because we'll be invoking this later on by doing ResourceManager getTexture, sending in the key. Let's say it's the key for the player texture. And if it doesn't find anything in the map, then we've not loaded the texture up and clearly something's gone wrong. So we'll throw ourselves an error. Otherwise, we can return our iterator and second, which is the second member. So not the key, but the value. And that should be, hopefully, in fact, it says here, the texture 2D. So I'll do Control-S to save. So as I said, a little bit of boilerplate there, but it's kind of unavoidable. We need to do a little bit of setup to get everything going. But what we can do now is very quickly check that actually this part here is working. So let's go into the main.cpp and scroll up to the top here. What we can do, let's say below the game config, is we can add in our resource manager and also our resource keys. And after we've disabled the cursor, let's go and load the resources. So we'll get the rm namespace. We can use the get dot, and then we want the load. And I'm going to copy this line here and go all the way down to the bottom here. And down the bottom here, what we can do then is we can unload. Now, we're not using any of the resources or anything from the resource manager yet, but we should at least be able to run the application now and see that it has loaded up some of these resources. So let's press F5 to run the application. And there's not been a crash or anything, which is good. I'm going to press escape to close down. And I can already see actually in the info section here in the terminal, all resources unloaded. So that is a good sign. And we didn't have a crash up to there. So if I scroll back up, now there's a few other things being logged as well, but we can probably find it inside here. Let's see, the resource manager, there we go. Resource manager loaded 3 textures. Excellent. So the resource manager seems to be working. Now what I'd like to do is actually use it for one of the textures that we have up here using one of our keys. Now the background we're using here to calculate the width and things, the walls is one that we could do though, isn't it? So let's just comment out the walls line from here and then scroll all the way down to where we will have an error here and scroll up to where we're drawing it, where we're going to have an error as well, which is here drawing the texture. Now we can use our resource manager to actually get this texture. So we'll do rm : then we can do get, then we'll do dot and get texture. And now we need to send in the key for what we want, which is our resource key. And that's going to be our game foreground, which is our walls. So I'll do Control-S to save. And we should be able to run the application now and still see everything looking exactly as before. It's just we're loading this now from our resource manager rather from inside the main. So do we have some walls? Yeah, we have some walls. Cool. So we can press escape to close that down, and I'll close this down as well. Let's do the same now for the background. Now we can't do this directly in here because we're using the background further up actually to get some information here from the background. So what we'll do is change this to a texture 2D reference, which is what we're getting from the resource manager. Then we can get hold of our resource manager, then the get, and the get texture. And here then we need to send in the key, which is the resource keys. In this case, it's the game background. So I'll do Control-S to save. And we've got some red lines here. And the red lines here will be because this is returning a constant and this is not a constant. So let's put const in front of here and we should be then okay. That's better. Now the background gets used down here. And then the background is still being used when we're doing the drawing inside here as well. One thing we do need to remember though is to not unload it anymore, because that'll be being done by the resource manager. So I'll do Control S to save. And now we should be able to press F5 to run this. And we should hopefully see on the game a background. And we do. Cool. So I'll press Escape to close that down and close down the terminal. Now we can deal with the player texture as well, which is going to be a little bit different because that's being passed down into the sprite where the texture is actually needed. So at the moment up here, we're initializing the player, sending in a reference to the player texture. Player takes in the reference to the texture here, then the sprite initializes itself with the texture here. But now we have a resource manager singleton, the sprite can actually access this. All it really needs is the key name, and it can do the rest. So let's go to the sprite.hpp, and inside the init, let's get rid of the texture 2D here. And we'll actually give it a standard string and a texture name, and we'll include string at the top here as well. Then let's go to sprite.cpp and scroll up to the init here, which is now broken. So in here now, we're going to take in the name of our texture, which is effectively our key. And then here for our pointer, we can use the @ symbol to get the address. Then we want our resource manager, or we would do if I included it at the top. So let's drop that in there. So we have our resource manager, then get texture. And inside here, we're going to send in the texture name. So we're now no longer passing textures down through the player into the sprite. The sprite just needs the key, which is the texture name, and it'll get it then from the resource manager. Or if it doesn't have it, the application will throw an error for us. Now we need to do the same thing with the player as well. So I'm going to take this definition here. Let's go to our player.hpp. And rather now than taking in a texture pointer, in the constructor, the player is going to take in then a reference to a texture name. And then in the implementation for the player, we can replace this. And then we pass this into the initialization for our sprite. And finally then, we can go back to the main.cpp where things are now broken. But for the player instead, all we need to do is send in our resource key, which is the resource key for the player. So now we're passing in the string rather than passing in the actual texture itself, and the sprite then will grab the sprite it needs from the resource manager. And let's scroll up now and see where we are with all of this. So we don't need this player texture anymore, do we? So we can comment that out, and we're going to get some red, aren't we? Because we're trying to unload this for sure down here. So let's unload this texture. We don't need it. And in fact, we can remove all of these lines now, can't we? So I'll do Control S to save. Let's scroll back up. I want to make double sure that we're removing everything. Yeah, we can remove these as well. We don't need them anymore. The image we're coming to in a moment. I'll do Control S to save. But everything now should be working exactly the same as it was before. It's just the resources are now being all loaded from our singleton rather than spread out through the main. And that looks okay. It's working. That's good news. We can still move, and let's hope we still crash as well. Yes, we do. Good. All right then. So escape to close that down, and I'll close down the terminal. So we have our resource manager now able to load up textures. So if we go to the manager.cpp, we've got the get texture and the load texture. We need to do the same thing for images as well, and you'll see us do something similar with audio later on. So in the resource manager here, let's add ourselves a very similar thing to the get texture, except we'll call this get image in this case. Then in the private section, we can add in the load image, and then we'll add ourselves an unordered map. So this is exactly the same process as we've done for the textures, just for images. Now I'd like to quickly check the resource keys. Do we? Yes, we do. We have the game BG collision. That's the one we need at the moment. So I'll go back to the resource manager. Here I think we're complete, aren't we? We just need to get image, this and this. It's just the implementation. Now so let's go to the resourcemanager.cpp, and let's scroll up to the load here. And here we'll drop in then the loading of our image, which is going to be our game BG collision, and that's the PNG. And then we can also log ourselves something as well. So loaded, and I'll say images, and that'll be then images size. Then we want the load image inside here. So I'm going to be very naughty and copy and paste this and change this to load image. And here instead of load texture, we need load image. This will be an image here, and I'll change this to IMG. And here we're looking to see if we have any data on the image or not. So if we say if that's equal to null pointer, then we can say that we failed to load image and leave the path. Otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to get hold of our images in place, then the name, and here we want the image, and I've put date instead of data there. Sorry about that, that's better. So more or less the same thing as we did for texture, except we're doing it in this case for an image. Then we have the get image as well. So I'm going to be naughty again, copy and paste this one. In this case, we have get image. The return from this is going to be a reference to an image. Then we're looking in here to find the images. If we don't find it, we'll say that we've not found an image. And otherwise, we can return the iterator and the second member. And I think that's all we need to do for that implementation. Finally, in the unload, we need to add the cleanup here, don't we? So we need to do a similar thing that we did here. So I'll copy and paste that. In this case, we're going to go through the images, clear the image. We can call this IMG, I think. And here we need unload image. And we'll put a space in there to be a little bit neater. And with that done, we have a similar case now as to what we had with the sprites, but with the collision map. So if we look at the collision map, we're sending it directly in a pointer to an image. Instead now, we can send it in a name, which is going to be a standard string. And at the top of the file, we can include string as well. Then I'm going to copy this, and we can go into the implementation. So the implementation will now be broken. So we'll put the name in here. At the top, we can include our resource manager. And then we'll get hold then of our resource manager get, and here we're looking to get image, and we send in then the name. And we've got red squiggly lines here because of course I forgot the address of this. It's a pointer, isn't it? So Control S to save. So similar story, we can now initialize collision maps just using the key rather than passing around pointers to images. So finally then, the last place to go is into the main.cpp, where our collision map is now going to be a little bit broken down here. And in the initialization, what we want to do is use our resource key. So we'll do RK, and then we want the game BG collision. Then we no longer need to load this image here, so we can delete that, and then we can scroll all the way down to the bottom of the file, and we no longer need this either. And hopefully you can already see things are becoming a lot neater. We now do all the loading and loading from our resource manager, and we don't have this sprinkling of loading of textures and things throughout our main and later on throughout the rest of the application. So we should be able to run this. I'll press F5, and hopefully everything's working exactly the same as it did at the start of this particular video. Only difference being we've now abstracted everything into a singleton, and that is looking all right. Please collide. If you collide, we're all good. You're colliding, we're definitely all good. Just like to go up here. I can already see in the log in the trace down the bottom that one image has been loaded. That looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to press Escape to close that down. Window closed successfully. All resources unloaded. That all looks good. No crashes or anything like that. And with that done, I do see one line of code in here that we can remove from here, and that's this one. We don't need this anymore either, do we? So I'm going to delete that out of here as well. Do Control S to save. So hopefully nothing is going to crash here. Let's have a look, and we're all right. Let's go over here and crash into the wall. Okay, we're also all right. That's looking good. Excellent. I can also see the resource manager loaded one images as well. If we press escape, we unloaded all of our resources as well. Good. So let's close down the terminal. And I think that is a good place to stop this particular video. We didn't do anything in terms of the gameplay or anything like that, but we've made a big step with managing our resources and structuring our code in a slightly better way than we had before. Now, anytime we want to add in a resource into the game, we add a key into the resource keys. Then we go into our resource manager, and we load it up with that key inside here. And for the rest of the application, it's simply a matter of getting hold of the resource manager singleton and asking for the image or the texture, or as you'll see later on, the sound. And with all of that done, we're now in a good position to start developing other features of the application, and we'll start that in the next video by hopefully getting the player to shoot. So thanks very much for watching this one. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.